Now, it's early in the year, but if you've got a big ride planned for the summer, now's the time to be putting the miles in. You know, running out of energy on a big ride in the middle of nowhere, it's every cyclist's worst nightmare. Some people call it the bonk, some people call it hitting the wall. I call it familiar, but also avoidable. So in this video, we're going to go through a bunch of tips to help you get the best out of your big ride this summer so you can smash those miles. Now, riding my bike a long way is my idea of fun, and my big ride goals for the year are the Dragon Ride at just over 200k and also the 600k Brian Chapman Audax across Wales and back. Now, those will need very different strategies, but there are plenty of things that you should always consider. And whatever your goal, whether you're looking to complete a local sportive, an epic adventure, a multi-day ride, your first 50k, your first 100k, whatever, hopefully we can impart some knowledge to help you hit that goal and have you champing at the bit for your next on-bike adventure. Don't go off too hard. If you take nothing else from this video, just remember that one thing. It's so easy to get carried away at the start of a big ride. You know, we've all done it. I've done it many times, and the last time I did the Brian Chapman, it meant I didn't even finish. Ran out of juice long before the end. On a big ride like the Dragon Ride, you've only got so many matches you can burn. If you boost up the hill in the red zone, first off, straight out of the gate, that's one gone. You're never getting that back. Pacing yourself will always mean going a little bit more slowly than you think you want to at the start, but don't be tempted to push the pace until you know you can hold it to the finish, or at least until a break at a stop or something like that. You'll probably have a good idea of what kind of pace you can maintain from training rides. Try and remember that, and also remember, just try and keep it chatty for the first hour. If you can't talk when you're riding, that's a really bad sign. Your body's the engine of your bike. Apart from when it runs out of fuel, you'll just get laughed at if you ring up the AA. Cycling burns up bucket loads of energy, so on a longer ride, you'll need to make sure you're replacing it as much as you can. You can do this with cake. This is one of my favourite things about cycling. Now, unless you're racing, you don't need to be too concerned about exactly what it is you're eating. As long as it's got carbs in it, then, you know, you're most of the way there. It doesn't even have to be cycling specific. I usually try to mix it up a bit. Unless you've got a very firm control over your guts, then just gels normally isn't the way to go. Experiment with different foods and find out what works for you. And don't be tempted to gorge yourself on unfamiliar sports nutrition products at the feed stops, because that can end badly if they don't agree with you. I speak from experience. Carb drinks are an easy way to get some extra energy down you as you hydrate, and my personal favourites are bananas and homemade energy bars, which are just a load of nuts and seeds and oats baked with some syrup. And cake. And start eating as soon as you set out. By the time you feel hungry, you've already started on the bottomless spiral of pain. It's not just your body that will be put under strain on a big ride, your bike will as well. And it's absolutely rubbish to have to throw in the towel due to some avoidable mechanical when you're feeling strong. So make sure you can change between and get into all your gears smoothly. And if they're electronic, then make sure they're charged up. Make sure your chain is lubed to avoid any unwanted squeaking. Check you've got some brake pads left. Check for thorns and glass in your tyres. Pump those tyres up and make sure they hold air. Many big rides will have some kind of bike support. It might be tools and mechanics at the feed stops, or even a neutral service on the course. Don't rely on it though. Take a toolkit with you. Make sure you know how to fix the things that are most likely to go wrong. So loose bolts, punctures, gears going out of whack, brakes rubbing, that kind of stuff. Now, a long ride can be ruined by discomfort, but what if I could tell you that you don't have to suffer? Most knee and bum and back pain can be mitigated, and I don't mean by a cocktail of painkillers, although I have been there. I mean just by a well-fitting bike. Now, you don't need to go and spend loads of money on a bike fit, although a lot of people would benefit from one. Just a case of making small changes to your setup, seeing what works for you for comfort on those longer rides. Now, if you haven't seen it already, there's a great bike fitting video on our YouTube channel. I'll link to that in the description below. While you're down there, don't forget to subscribe to road.cc for more great cycling videos like this one from us. A lot of the hard work when completing a challenge happens long before you ever swing a leg over the bike on the start line. There's lots of other things you can do to make your life easier on the day. Firstly, do some research. If your big ride is an organised event, how long does it take to get there? And how much time will you need to get yourself sorted before the start? Is your route hilly or is it flat? Where are the hills? How steep are they? What gearing will you need to get up them? Are there feed stations? If so, where are they? And what can you expect to find there? If you don't ask yourself these questions before the hour of reckoning, then you could find yourself in a very sorry state. I know I certainly have. Also, eat well the night before. Something fairly carb heavy to load up for ride is traditional, but whatever works for you. And have a decent breakfast too. Obviously, don't go crazy, but there's no point setting off with the tank half empty. You'll also want to look at the weather forecast for the whole day if it's a long ride. Dressing appropriately will make your ride a lot more enjoyable, and it's easy to get caught out. Did you know that when you're riding on the road, riding behind another rider can save you about a quarter of your effort? Now, imagine what it's like if you're sitting behind a whole bunch of people. It's great. More important than that though, you'll have somebody to talk to, you'll have somebody to share the experience with, you'll have somebody to sit with in the pub afterwards. That's one of the reasons people do a big ride like the Dragon Ride, for the sense of camaraderie. There's loads of people you can ride with who'll be going the same speed as you. Probably you've got some mates as well you can go with, you can share the driving and the experience with them. Just remember that on a big ride with hundreds, thousands of people maybe, it's super easy to lose your ride buddies. One hill they might go off the back, then you'll never see them again. It's a really good idea, if you can, to share your location on your phone so that you can see where everybody is. You can catch up with each other and ride together again. You probably thought we'd forgotten about it, but no, there's no getting around the fact that you'll get out what you put in. If you're like me, then you'll think that you can cram everything into the last few weeks before an event. And take it from my long experience, it's very, very unlikely that this will work. Your target event might seem like a long way off, but it's never too early to start working towards it. Getting some structure into your training will make all the difference. Check out our video on how to improve on the bike. There's a link in the description below. One word of advice I do have though is that don't feel you need to have done the event distance before the day, as long as you've done up to around 70% on a regular basis. It's pretty likely that with that training, the added adrenaline and motivation on the day will get you over that final hurdle. Now, we all know that bike riding is more than just about pushing the pedals. There's a fair amount of skill involved too, and events such as sportives often have lots of other people with what I shall charitably call various competencies to contend with, as well as unpredictable conditions and unknown roads. With this in mind, it's probably a good idea to brush up on those skills. Now, you can find articles on how to properly climb, descend, and corner over on the road.cc website, but there's other things you can practice too. For example, getting better at riding on the wheel, or drinking and eating whilst riding along, or if you're really confident, putting on or taking off a jacket while you're riding. So there you go, those are our tips for your next big ride. Let us know your big ride tips and what challenges you've got planned in the comments below. If any of you are doing the Dragon Ride in Wales or the Brian Chapman, then we'll see you there. If you like this content, then please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for lots more riding advice. And if, like me, you're looking to keep fit as the birthdays keep mounting up, then why not check out our Fit Over 50 and 60 videos. We'll see you next time.